Yo, driven to chunk guys, and we are T minus 3 hours away at the time of this video from the launch of Project Diablo 2 Season 11. I wanted to get the endgame map video out and endgame episode out, but what I wanted to do, I wasn't able to because the servers went down. I wanted to give, use cases and showcase and have some visual references for like rerolling maps and things like that. So I'll still make that episode once we get our character end game, and it'll actually be kind of fitting because I'll get my character end game, and then you can I'll walk you through what I'm gonna do when I have that character there. We will be playing hardcore, so fingers crossed that I get there in a timely manner and I don't die on my way through the campaign. But I wanted to get a video out for new players to maybe understand something that's important that they should consider, and one of those things is corruptions. And corruptions are world stone shards are a new item which drop throughout the game and can be used to corrupt items and maps. And world stone shards will be dropping even in normal, and they can be used as currency. So I would suggest not just using them willy nilly when you get them, especially when you're in normal, maybe on nightmare, and or you can do whatever you want. But maybe save them for a good item because, say you get a really helpful, maybe not a good item, but a helpful item in your leveling journey. But it's probably better just to keep that item intact because corruptions have a chance to destroy the item, or what they call brick it. And corruptions, you might hear the term Worldstone Shards, that people tell you to slam the item. That's what they're talking about. They're telling you to put the item in question that you like in a cube and put a Worldstone Shard in there, and then hit transmute, and try to get a modded corruption on it. You either get an extra stat, or if the item can have sockets like a chest armor or a weapon or a helm, you can get those as well. Or if the corruption fails, it will take, say if it's a unique item, it'll just take that unique item. If it fails, it'll become a rare item. Sometimes I've had good bricks, believe it or not. Not all the time, but yeah, it is possible to get some good rares, and the rare will have a corruption on it as well, as if it was a successful one, but it will convert the item if it's unsuccessful to a rare item. So anyway, let's keep going. Corruptions result include adding sockets if applicable, so no sockets on boots or amulets or belts if you corrupt them or something like that. Adding a corruption modifier as listed below, or turning them into a random rare of the same type. Maps only gain a corrupted modifier. Corrupted items cannot be corrupted again, but they can be modified by nearly all other recipes. So if you corrupt a unique chest, that's at a normal item level, normal tier, not exceptional, you can still like upgrade it and stuff like that, but you can't corrupt it again. To use a Worldstone Shard, put it in the Roger Cube with another item and press the transmute button. There is also tainted Worldstone Shards, which are dropped by Rathma and can only be used to corrupt the Nihilist charms. So any tier of difficulty that you complete the Rathma fight in, he will always drop a tainted Worldstone Shard, and you can corrupt your Nihilist charm to hopefully, the best one I think is a +1 skill, but you can get other benefits, things like that. If you brick or destroy a Nihilist charm, it just turns your Nihilist charm into like just a regular small charm. New desecration mechanic added in season 10. Desecration allows you to double corrupt an amulet, but amulet only, and you can see desecration chances for rolls over there. We'll go over that really quickly. And desecrating, you have to complete the Lucian fight, which is a completely new boss fight that they had in season 10, which people really like. Anyway, moving on. Equipment condition or corruptions. Equipment items can gain sockets if applicable, gain a corrupted modifier, or be turned into a random rare. Regular items can only be corrupted if they do not have sockets, and they cannot gain corruption modifiers other than sockets. So if you just have an exceptional pike or something like that, you can slam it, corrupt it in the cube, and it will run. It will just automatically try to give it sockets. If it fails, it will just turn it into a random rare. It is a good way to try and get sockets on like a Stygian pike or something that you want to use for an infinity merc. You're like, well, I need 4 sockets on this one. I really like it. It has enhanced, it's exceptional or superior, and it has enhanced damage on it or something like that, or it's ethereal. And you slam it, and hey, look, you got 4 sockets. Perfect. Now you can make an infinity in it. Or sometimes it'll give you more sockets than you intended. You're like, oh no, I have 5 sockets on it. But that's just the risk you take. They can either gain sockets up to the maximum amount of sockets for that item, or to be turned into a random rare. Corrupting a regular item is akin to using a socketing recipe, so you don't have to use world stone shards to try to get sockets on normal items for rune words. You can just still use a socketing recipe on it, and it can even be done with inferior or superior items. If a regular item which cannot gain sockets, this says throwing weapons, but that's not true anymore. Throwing weapons can now get sockets. Is corrupted, it will still become a random rare 50% of the time, and the other 50% will be effectively unchanged. Rune words are regular items which already have sockets, so they can't have another corruption modifier. Rune words with the corrupted tag were simply made in a corrupted regular item. So like I said, if you corrupted an exceptional pike and you got the sockets that you want for it, and then you made a rune word into it, it might look like it's a corrupted rune word, but it's not. It's just the base was corrupted. So you cannot corrupt rune words. If a corrupted item becomes a random rare, it will be corrupted with either sockets or a corruption modifier in addition to its normal attributes. If the original item was ethereal, the item it becomes will also be ethereal. Corrupted items cannot be corrupted again, but they can be modified by nearly all of the recipes. Like I said, you can still upgrade the item to a more exceptional quality. Sockets can only be added to 0 socket items, which are capable of gaining sockets. Helms, chests, shields, and non-throwing weapons. No, that's not true anymore. Additionally, the maximum sockets an item can get is always restricted by the item base. For example, an unupgraded vampire gaze cannot get more than 2 sockets because Grimhelm has the maximum of 2 sockets. But you can upgrade the vampire gaze Grimhelm to a bone visage or whatever to the next tier of that item, and then you can get 3 sockets. So there is sometimes a little thing you can do to trick the corruptions into hoping to get more sockets by upgrading the item to allow it to have more sockets. Moving on, here's some examples. Regular equipment, 50% chance to gain sockets up to the maximum amount of sockets, and then 50% chance to turning into a random rare. So 50-50. Other equipments, if capable of gaining sockets, 25% chance of gaining sockets, 1 to 3 for armor, 2 to 4 for one-handed weapons. That's different for javelins. It's only 1 to 2 for small javelins, and then 1 to 3 for larger javelins, and then 3 to 6 for two-handed weapons. 50% chance to gain a modifier, 24% low rarity, 16% mid rarity, 10% high rarity for the corruptions, 25% chance to turn it into a random rare or bricking. Other equipment, if applicable of gaining sockets, 75% chance to gain modifiers, 36% low rarity, 24% mid rarity, 15% high rarity, 25% chance to turn it into a random rare. For non-regular items, if corruption results add sockets, these are the odds for how many sockets may be added. Armor, helms, chests, and shields, 1 to 3 sockets, 48% chance for 1 socket, 28% chance for 2 sockets, and 24% chance for 3 sockets, max sockets. Weapons, one-handed, 2 to 4 sockets, 48% for 2, 28% for 3, 24% for 4 sockets. For two-hand weapons, they can have the maximum of 3 to 6 sockets. So 30% for 3, 28% for 4 sockets, 28% for 4 sockets, 24% for 5 sockets, and then 18% for 6 sockets, max sockets. If an item can gain sockets and it doesn't gain them via corrupting, it can still gain sockets in another way. The relatively uncommon Larzik puzzle box can be used to add 2 to 4 sockets for two-handed weapons, 1 to 2 sockets for other items. A Larzik puzzle piece can be used the same way, and it is more common, but it cannot be used with unique or set items. You can only use puzzle pieces for, like, most of the time people use that to puzzle box or to add sockets for like rare items or crafted items, things like that. In an ideal circumstance, stances, players can either aim for the max socket corruptions or a high rarity corruptions with sockets added by puzzle boxes themselves. High rarity corruption modifiers are generally slightly stronger than two sockets on a weapon or one socket on an armor, and therefore it's best in slot for most scenarios. However, more sockets allow for more customization. So there's some risk. You got to try to craft your gear the way that you want. And then here's a good thing to know. Due to the high value of puzzle boxes compared to worldstone shards, you're definitely going to find more worldstone shards than you're going to find puzzle boxes. It's generally better to corrupt items before puzzle boxing them. Using a puzzle box first will result in a higher chance to get a corruption modifier when corrupting, 75% chance instead of 50. But the chance to brick an item after you use a puzzle box remains the same, 25%. So the puzzle box may be wasted. So say you have a great item that you've seen on your building, you need it. Sometimes it's better to slam the item, corrupt the item first to make sure it survives. And once you get an affix, even if it's not the one that you might like, at least it survived. And then you can use a puzzle box on it. Now you're not going to get the max sockets on it like you would from a corruption, but at least it survived and you can get another affix. And sometimes it's badass. Sometimes you slam it cannot be frozen on a helm, and even though you can only get two sockets now through a puzzle box on the helm, at least you have that cannot be frozen. That's like adding a sham rune to it. So that's how it kind of goes. So let's go ahead and what can you get in corruptions? Let's go ahead and just go over the weapon corruption mods, the armor corruption mods, the shield corruption mods, helm, boots, whatever. Starting with weapons. So there are 3 different tiers. I'll try not to block anything. 3 different tiers of rarity for corruptions for the stats that you can get. There's low tier, which is a 50% chance. So if you see any of these abilities that you get after you slam or corrupt an item, slam it, you see any of these, you got a low tier rarity. If you see any of the mid tier, any of these, you have a mid tier one. And if you see any of these, you got a high tier. You got really lucky. So let's go over the low tier ones. You can, if you can get 40 to 80% enhanced damage on weapons. You can get 150 to 250 to attack rating. You can get 100 to 150 chance enhanced damage to demons as well as attack rating to demons. Same thing for undead. You can get 10% faster cast rate. You can get 3 to 6 after life after each kill. After each hit, you can get 3 to 6 after each kill. You can get 3 to 5 after mana after each kill. You can get 20 to 30% better chance for MF for finding magic items. And then you can also get minus 25 to 50% requirements. The mid-tier chances for on items is 20% faster cast rate, 30 to 40% increased attack speed, 40 to 60% enhanced damage, and life, and 5% lifesteal. So you can get 2 mods technically sometimes if you're lucky. Minus 40 to 60 target defense per hit, 20 to 30% chance of crushing blow, 20 to 30% deadly strike, and then minus 7 to 10% for enemy resistances, fire, cold, lightning, poison. And those are the mid-tier ones. And real preface, if you slam like a sorcerer weapon, like an orb or something, you can still accidentally get, increased attack speed and enhanced damage and stuff like that. It sucks because you're like, I'm a sorcerer, so I don't need this. And but yeah, that's just the way it is. It's almost like a brick, but it's kind of just a silly brick. And then anyway, moving on to the top tier ones, the ones that everyone's going for, high tier rarity, 20% chance, +1 to all skill. You can slam onto your gear, 30% increased attack speed, and 20 to 30% chance of crushing blow, 80 to 120 enhanced defense or damage, plus 20% increased attack speed. That's a great one. You can get increased enhanced damage with attack rating. You can get 50 to 70% enhanced damage, but with a 25% deadly strike. You can get 60 to 80% enhanced damage, but ignores target defense as well. You can get 10% faster cast rate, plus 5% fire damage. You can get 10% faster cast rate, plus 5% cold damage. Same thing with lightning, same thing with poison. Those are the top end for weapons of things that you're looking for, as well as corrupting it. Say you didn't use a puzzle box on it or a puzzle piece. You can, get max sockets. That is, I think max sockets is part of the high tier. Moving on to shields. Again, low rarity chance 48%, mid rarity chance 32%, high rarity chance 20%. For the low rarities, you can on shields you can get 20 to 30% faster hit recovery. You can get 20% faster block rate, 20 to 30 better chance of getting magic items, 30 to 40 life. But you can get resistances that go between 35 to 40%. So fire, cold, lightning, poison. In the mid tier rarity, you can get indestructible plus enhanced defense on an item. You can get 10% faster cast rate on it. So these are on shields. You can get 10% faster block rate with 10 to 20% increased chance of blocking. You can get increased max life 4 to 6%. Physical damage taken reduced by 6, which is flat. Magic damage taken reduced at 6 to 10, which is flat, not percentage. Attacker takes damage 4 to 594, 4 to 6 per level. You can get that as mid. And then you can also get cannot be frozen. I didn't realize that was a mid tier slam. So on the high rarity end for shields, you can also get a +1 to all skills. You can get plus 10% curse resistance, all resistance 20 to 25. You can get physical damage taken reduced by 6 to 8%. And then, of course, you can slam max resistances, whether it's fire, cold, lightning, or poison, 4 to 5%. You can get slammed. Plus, it gives resistances too on shields. So moving on to chest armor. Again, same breakdown for low rarity, mid rarity, high rarity. For the low end on chest, you can slam 20 to 30% faster hit recovery. You can get 50 to 80% enhanced defense. You can get 20 to 30 better chance of getting magic items. You can get 30 to 40 mana. And then, of course, the resistances, 30 to 35% fire, cold, lightning, poison. Mid rarity for armor, you can get 50 to 80 enhanced defense with indestructible. You can get 10% faster cast rate. You could get 20% faster run walk. You can get increased maximum life 4 to 6. You can get physical damage taken reduced by 6 to 10. You can get magic damage taken reduced by 6 to 10. You can get the attacker takes damage just like the shield, and you can also slam cannot be frozen on armor. And for the high tier, just like shields, you can get a +1 skill on armor for a high tier success rate. You can get 10% curse resistance. You can get all resistance. You can get that are 20 to 25. You can get that physical damage taken reduced by 6 to 8%. And then, of course, the max reses, which is 4 to 5% for fire, cold, lightning, or poison. And for helms, you can you're noticing like a pattern with certain things. Some stats are available on certain items and some aren't. So this is what that's going to help you do. Like, I don't want people to waste their world stone shards corrupting something, hoping to get enhanced damage on a chest armor, and when you can't, that's not even an option. So Helm Corruptions, low rarity chance, you can get the faster hit recovery, you can get the 50 to 80% enhanced defense, you can get the 20 to 30 MF, you can actually get a replenished life, 20 to 30 on helmets, and then of course the general resistances, fire, cold, lightning, res, you have a chance to get 30 to 35% of those individually. Mid rarity, you can get the indestructible with 5 to 80% defense. You can get 150 to 250 attack rating, which includes 2 to 4 light radius. See, that wasn't on the armor. And then also that wasn't on the armor. You can also get 3 to 5 life stolen per hit, or 3 to 5 mana stolen per hit on helms. You get that increased maximum life 4 to 6. You can also get 3 to 4 life after each kill, or 3 to 4 mana after each kill. And then you can still get that cannot be frozen on helms. You can get +1 skill on helms, the curse resistance, that all resistance, but on helms it's 15 to 20. You can still get that physical damage taken reduced by 4 to 6 on helms. And then, of course, you can get the maximum resistances increase 4 to 5, whether it's fire, cold, lightning, or poison. On boot corruptions, you can get, for the low tier, you get enhanced defense. You can get regenerate mana, 10 to 15% on boots. You can get extra gold on boots. You get the 10 to 25% better chance of MF on boots. And then you can get 15 to 20 all the reses from boots as well. And then for mid rarity, you can get that indestructible. You can get, which is the 50 to 80% enhanced defense. You get a 10% faster block rate, 10% faster hit recovery, 10 to 20 life. All res 5 to 8 for the helms, and then, or for the boots, excuse me, 2 to 3 life after each kill, 2 to 3 mana after each kill, possibly, or also replenish life 15 to 25 on boots. And then for the top tier for boots, you can get 15% faster run walk, 20% reduced curse duration. You can get physical damage taken reduced by 3 to 4%. You can get 10% increased chance of blocking. You can get 2 to 3 maximum fire resistance on boots, and then you can also do that for cold, lightning, and poison resistance. Now, there are some boots that already have, I think what water walks, or it comes with like 5% increased maximum fire resistance. So if you slam this, you can get 8%, or you can get a double resistance. You can get fire, and then you can get another 2 to 3 cold or lightning or something. So it's very helpful for adding just little stats to really help your build out. Glove corruptions. You can get the low tier. You can get 50 to 80 enhanced damage. You can get regenerate mana 20 to 30%. You can get extra gold from monsters. You can get extra magic find from monsters. And of course, you get resistances on gloves, which is just 10 to 15%. Mid rarity, you can get 10 to 15% chance to pierce on gloves. You can get 10 to 20% faster block rate on gloves. You can get attack rating. You can get 2 to 3 for life steal, or 2 to 3% mana steal per hit. You can get 3 to 6 all attributes. You can get 20 to 40 life. And then you can also get replenish life 15 to 20 for that mid tier on gloves. And for the top tier for gloves, the ones that everyone sought after, you can get plus 10% faster cast rate. You can get 10% increased attack speed. You can get 10% increased chance of blocking. You can also get 30 to 40% enhanced damage on gloves. You can also get minus enemy target defense by 15 to 25%. You can get deadly strike on gloves. And then you can also get 3 to 4 to mana after each kill. And then also all resist 5 to 8 on the high tier end of gloves. Onto the belt corruptions. Belts for the low tier, you can get random attributes, whether it's strength, dexterity, vitality, or energy, which would be 7 to 10 range. You can get the basic resistances, of course, fire, cold, lightning, poison res, 10 to 15% on those. For the mid tier rarity, you can get 10 to 15% chance to pierce, 10% faster hit recovery, 3 to 6 all attributes, replenish life 15 to 20. 100 to 150 attack rating. You can also get attacker takes damage 2 to 396, 2 to 4 per level. And then, of course, you can get extra gold or extra MF on belts. And then the high tier ones that everyone seeks after, why we slam, Arachnid's Mesh that has that has a good roll for the faster cast rates, like 20%. Well, you can slam even more faster cast rate from the high tier if you're lucky. You can get 10% faster cast rate. You can get 10% increased attack speed. You can get 10% faster run walk. You can get 20% reduced curse duration. You can get 10% increased chance of blocking. And then actually on belts, you can get if you're really lucky, which is definitely a sought after one for bossers, is plus 2% to all maximum resistances, not individual, all of them. All resistance, you can get 5 to 8, and then physical damage taken reduced by 3 to 4% is also in the high tier as well. Moving on to ring corruptions. The low end, you can get one of the random attributes, just like belts, 7 to 10 to either strength, dexterity, vitality, energy. And then you can also do the resistances to 10 to 15% fire, cold, lightning, poison. The mid tier rarity, again, is you can get on rings, you can get attack rating 100 to 150. You can get 2 to 3 life after each kill, or 2 to 3 mana after each kill. You can get some flat damage reduction, either physical or magic on rings. You can get 30 to 40 life on rings. And of course, you can get gold and magic find on rings. Now, the high ones that people are looking for, you can get 10% faster cast rate. You can get 10% faster run walk. You can get 10% reduced curse duration. You can get 3 to 4% mana stolen per kill. You can get 3 to 4% life stolen per kill. You get 4 to 6 to all attributes. You can get 4 to 6 to all resistances. And you can get physical damage taken reduced by 3% if you want. The cast rate is really one of the big ones, or one of the leeches, or something like that for a dual leech ring. But if you have a 10 FCR ring, and you can make it a 20 FCR ring, or if you have the new ring, which is the constricting loop, you could get a 30% faster cast rate, and those will sell for a lot. Or do they just help caster characters hit those breakpoints that at the high end that can be kind of hard to hit? On to Amulet Corruptions. For the low rarities, you can roll between 6 to 12 for either any of the random attributes like strength, dexterity, vitality, or energy. And then again, just like rings, you can get any of the resistances, 5 to 20%, whether it's fire, cold, lightning, poison. Mid success chances, mid rarity, you can get 10 to 20% chance to pierce, 10% chance faster hit recovery, 10% chance of increased blocking, 2 to 3 after life after each kill, 2 to 3 to mana after each kill, 6 to 8 to all attributes, and gold and magic find possibly. And then on the high end of this, which the rings do not have, you can get a +1 skill on ring or on amulets. You can get 10% faster cast rate on amulets. You can get 10% faster run walk. You can get 10% cursed resistance. You can get 30 to 40% enhanced damage. You cannot be frozen on amulets. And this is the big one here. You can all, just like belts, you can get a +2 to all max resistances on amulets, which is a very sought after one. And you'd also get 7 to 10 all res. So the +1 is skills is definitely sought after, as well as maybe faster cast rate and then enhanced damage, and then definitely cannot be frozen and maximum to all res are the ones that people are really looking to get. And then the last item, I should say, piece of gear that you can corrupt in this is a quiver. So Project Diablo 2 quivers aren't just a nothing throwaway slot. In Project Diablo 2, they're like rare items, and they actually can roll with plus skills to like Amazon abilities and stuff like that. They're very good, and it's actually a really good way to get currency early game. I would always suggest looking for rare quivers, things that to have like increased attack speed, as well as life steal plus deadly strike, maybe open wounds or crushing blow, and then of course it can do +2 to bow and Amazon skill, or excuse me, bow and crossbow skills, or passive and magic skills. So you can slam a +1 on that. So anyway, going over the corruptions for quivers and bolts, you can get 20% faster hit recovery for the low end, the 30 to 40 to life, gold find, magic find, and then of course the resistances, 10 to 20% on those for fire, cold, lightning, and poison. For the mid rarity chance, you can get 10% faster run walk, 10 to 15% chance to pierce. You can also get 5 to 10% enemy fire res, and you can also get 5 to 10% enemy cold res. You can also get minus target defense by 10 to 20%. You can get attack rating, and you can also get mana steal or life steal. And then on the high end, the one that people are seeking for when they corrupt an item or slam it is +1 to all skills, plus 10% to increase attack speed, plus 10% to curse resistance. You can get 30 to 40% enhanced damage. You can get 10 to 15 minimum damage, and you can get 10 to 15 maximum damage. You can also get ignores target defense, and you can also get 5 to 10 all resistance. So those are just the basic gear. And then we'll get into kind of some corrupting for maps kind of. I might actually just save the corrupting things for maps for the end game video, but I just really wanted to get out something for you guys to maybe help prevent you from wasting currency or something like that. And when you get Worldstone shards, I would just suggest in your leveling up journey, I would suggest saving them until you get an item that maybe you really do know is good. Like maybe you saw a build guide and you're like, oh, I need this helm, or I need this. Save it for that, or save it for trading if you're trying to do that, because people will trade for Worldstone shards. Like I said, the value is lesser. I think it's worth like a pole. I think it's worth like 0.01, I want to say, Worldstone shard is. So something like a mal is about 0.1, I want to say a mal is. So if you don't have a mal and someone's asking for a mal for an item, a mal rune, you can be like, hey, would you take 10 Worldstone shards? And, I would always ask for trading, if they're accepting Worldstone shards. So it's something, and you'll get a lot of them. These aren't like super rare items where you're never going to get them. It's like a Zod rune or something like that. You will get a lot of them. You will get a lot of Worldstone shards, but you will also brick a lot of items. So keep that in mind. So anyway, that is the mods that you can get for corrupting or slamming items. I hope this helps you guys kind of come up with a better plan for when you do find Worldstone shards and you have better use cases. And now you guys know the actual stats that you can get. So you aren't going to waste time trying to get, a +1 skill on a ring or something like that, because you just can't. So anyway, guys, we're getting closer and closer to the launch, and I hope you guys have a great season.